Masdar City is one of Abu Dhabi's most unique real estate markets. But before we talk about the property, we need to understand what Masdar City was actually created to become. Masdar was established in 2006 under Mubadala. Masdar City was formally announced in 2007 and construction began in 2008. The original idea was never simply to build apartments. The development was designed around renewable energy, sustainability, research, technology, education, and business. And the original environmental ambition was extremely high. Masdar City was planned as a development targeting zero carbon emissions and zero waste. That target later changed, and this is where Masdar City's story becomes more interesting. You will find articles describing Masdar as either failed zero carbon city or a successful sustainable city. Both descriptions need context, because the original vision was not delivered exactly as planned. But the development itself did not disappear. It just evolved. Today, Masdar City has more than 1,000 companies and organizations, research and educational institutions, commercial developments, and an established residential community. And there is a significant new residential development taking place. Phi Hills is planned with more than 1,000 villas and townhouses. Bertville also has several residential projects in the area, with around 1,400 planned units across the current portfolio. Some are already under construction, and Ville 11 has begun handover this year, 14 months ahead of the schedule. At the same time, Aldar and Mubadala are investing in income-producing asset in Masdar City, including the 654 million acquisition of The Link in 2026. So this is not simply a community waiting to be developed. There is already an operating ecosystem, an established residential market, and a significant pipeline of new development. In this video, I want to separate three things: what Masdar City was originally supposed to become, what actually happened, and what is being built and developed today. I will also separate what is confirmed from what is still planned. My name is Duke Garcia. I've been working on the ground in Abu Dhabi real estate for 8 years. I've seen the market through different cycles. My approach is simple. Before we talk about the property, let's understand the place itself. So let's start at the beginning. Masdar did not begin as a conventional real estate developer. In April of 2006, Masdar was established as wholly owned subsidiary of Mubadala to lead Abu Dhabi's renewable energy and sustainability efforts. Then, in 2007, Masdar City was formally announced. The regional master plan covered approximately 6 square kilometers. It included research facility, laboratories, offices, educational institution, technology companies, light manufacturing, and residential area. So from the beginning, the idea was to bring together companies, researchers, students, workers, and residents in one sustainable development. Construction began in 2008, and Masdar City opened in 2010. But the original plan was extremely ambitious, and that is where we need to talk about the zero carbon vision. When Masdar City was first announced, the environmental objectives was very different from how we describe the project today. The original vision was centered around the city designed for zero carbon emission and zero waste. Then, the development was supposed to reduce energy and water consumption, use renewable energy, and minimize the environmental impact construction and transportation. There was also a plan for a personal rapid transit system. These were small, driverless vehicles intended to transport people around the development and reduce the need for the conventional car. On paper, it was one of the most ambitious sustainable city projects in the world. But several things changed. The global financial crisis came soon after the construction began. The development became more difficult and expensive to deliver at its original scale. Technology also evolved. Electric vehicles developed faster than many of the original assumptions anticipated, with some of the proposed transportation system became less practical. The development timeline changed as well. Academic research has documented these changes, including the scaling back of the original carbon and waste targets and changes the development model. So one thing is clear, the original Masdar City plan changed. That is not a speculation, it is part of the project's documented history. This is probably the most misunderstood part of Masdar City story. you'll find headlines saying Masdar City failed as a zero-carbon city. The Guardian reported in 2016 that the original goal of becoming the world's first planned zero-carbon city had effectively been abandoned. Wired also reported on the changes to the original vision. Academic research has similarly questioned whether Masdar achieved its original environmental objective. So if someone says Masdar City did not achieve the original zero-carbon target, that is a fair statement. It did not. But saying, therefore Masdar City failed, is a much broader conclusion. It depends on what you are measuring. If the question is, did Masdar City become completely zero-carbon, zero-waste city originally envisioned? No, that target was not achieved as originally planned. But if the question is, did the development disappear or become irrelevant? The evidence today says no. Masdar City continued developing, but its role changed. Instead of becoming the fully self-contained zero-carbon city originally imagined, it evolved into a broader sustainable urban, business, and technology district. And that distinction is important. So, what Masdar City became? Today, Masdar City describes itself as a sustainable urban community, business, free zone, and technology hub. This is very different from simply calling it a green residential community. There are offices, research facilities, universities, technology companies, startups, commercial buildings, residential developments, and a free zone. Masdar City says more than 1,000 companies and organizations are now part of its ecosystem. This includes organizations connected to renewable energy, artificial intelligence, energy, mobility, health, space, agriculture, and sustainable urban development. Institutions and companies associated with the area include IRENA, the UAE Space Agency, Siemens, Honeywell, Tabrid, the Advanced Technology Research Council, and Mohammed bin Zayed University of Artificial Intelligence. This tells us something very important. The residential market is only one part of Masdar City. The other part is employment, research, education, technology, and business. And from a real estate perspective, that matters. Residential demand does not exist completely separately from the economic activities surrounding it. So what makes Masdar City different? The sustainability element also did not disappear. The physical design of the development still reflects the original philosophy. The streets are designed around shade and pedestrian comfort. Buildings are positioned to reduce heat exposure. There are shaded public areas. Buildings are designed to reduce energy and water consumption. Masdar City current material states that the building used around 40% less energy and water compared to the similar buildings and applicable standard. Buildings are also required to achieve at least 3 Pearl STDAMA rating. STDAMA is Abu Dhabi's sustainability framework covering areas such as energy, water, materials, and environmental impact. So the sustainability story remains. What changed was the scale and definition of the original ambition. Today, the more accurate description is not, we built a perfect zero-carbon city. It is, Masdar City is designed around sustainable construction, lower energy and water consumption, renewable energy, and new technology. That is much more defensible description of what exists today. Now let's look at the residential side. Masdar City already has an established residential community. There are developments such as the Oasis Residences, Leonardo Residences, the Ville 11, and other residential buildings, as well as the corporate accommodation. So Masdar City is not a future residential area waiting to begin. People already live there. However, the residential history is mixed. Some of the earlier developments have been criticized for small unit sizes, finishing quality, maintenance issue, and most especially delays. Those are legitimate factors for buyers to investigate. But I will be careful about applying the experience of an older buildings to every project being launched today. Masdar City has been evolving for almost 2 decades. The developers have changed, the products have changed, the target markets has changed, and the construction standard and project concept has also changed. That is why I would separate the older residential stock from the newer pipeline. And this is where developers such as the Bertfield becomes relevant. Bertfield has developed a growing portfolio in Masdar City. Its current projects includes Ville 11, Ville 12, Bob Alcazar Resort Residences 18 and 19, and Bob Cazar Garden Residences 65 and 66. These projects are not the same. Some offer studios and apartments. Others introduce larger apartments, duplexes, and triplex-style layouts. The Bob Alcazar development also introduced a hotel-branded residential concept with associated services and amenities. So the residential product in Masdar City is becoming more diverse. You have smaller units aimed at individuals and professionals, and you have larger homes aimed at the families. And you have branded, service-oriented residences. But this does not mean every new project is automatically better. Each project still needs to be assessed individually. Look at the developer. Look at the construction progress. Look at the delivery history. Look at the actual layout and the unit size. Look at service charges. Look at the ownership structure. And look at what has actually been delivered, rather than relying on the brochures. Another major development is Phi Hills. Phi Hills is being developed through a partnership between Taraf and Masdar City. According to the developer, the overall development is planned with more than 1,000 villas and townhouses. The first phase, Phi Gardens, includes villas, with later phases introducing traditional villas and townhouses. This matters because it introduces a type of residential product that historically has not been available in Masdar City at some scale. For many years, the residential market here was primarily apartments and corporate accommodation. Phi Hills adds much stronger family housing component, and that changes how we should think about the residential market. Masdar City is no longer simply an apartment market. It is becoming more mixed residential environment. But I will not describe Phi Hills as a direct replacement for established villa communities nearby, such as the Raha Gardens or Golf Gardens. Those communities have different characteristics and serve different markets. The more useful distinction is this: established communities offer established villa living. Masdar City is developing into a mixed-use technology and business district that is adding a larger family residential component. There is another important consideration for the buyers. Masdar City is located within Abu Dhabi investment zone where qualifying non-UAE buyers can purchase freehold property. This is important because ownership condition can differ significantly between communities and individual projects. So when looking at the property, don't assume that every development has identical ownership condition. Check the title, check the project registration, check the ownership designation, and check the actual sale term for the specific property. This is particularly important when comparing Masdar City with older villa communities elsewhere in Abu Dhabi. Now let's look at Aldar and Mubadala. Their involvement is important because it shows that Masdar City's story is not only about selling residential units. In 2024, Aldar and Mubadala created a joint venture focused on income-producing assets in Masdar City. The partnership includes commercial and residential assets. Then, in April 2026, the joint venture completed the acquisition of The Link for 654 million dirhams. The Link has approximately 32,000 square meters of net leasable across the buildings and, according to Aldar, is fully leased. Its tenants includes Masdar and Mohammed bin Zayed University of Artificial Intelligence. The development includes offices, a net zero energy headquarters building, a multi-use hall, and residential accommodation. Why is this important? Because it demonstrates institutional investment into income-producing side of Masdar City. Aldar and Mubadala are not just simply looking at the area as a residential sales market. They are also investing in the commercial and mixed-use asset. That gives us another way to understand the area's development. So when we look at Masdar City today, I think there are two connected stories. The first is residential. Apartments, villas, and townhouses are being developed. The second is economic activity. Offices, research institutions, universities, technology companies, and the free zone are operating within the area. That combination is important, but I want to be careful here. I'm not saying that this is automatically means property prices will increase. That will be a speculation. What we can say is that Masdar City is being developed with both housing and employment uses, and that gives buyers more information when assessing the location. Transportation is another area where I think buyers need to be careful. Masdar City's master plan includes provision for future public transportation and the light rail connection. There have been plans showing potential connections toward airport, Yas Island, and Abu Dhabi. But there is a major distinction between a planned urban transportation connection and a confirmed Etihad Rail passenger station. I have not found any official announcement confirming an Etihad Rail passenger station inside Masdar City. So I would not tell buyers Etihad Rail is coming to Masdar City. That is not something I would present as confirmed. But Etihad Rail is developing the UAE's national passenger rail network. That is separate from Masdar City planned urban transportation connection. Masdar City has also been used for testing autonomous transportation and other mobility technologies. So when we talk about the future transportation here, we should separate national rail, urban public transportation, autonomous mobility, and the existing road network. They are not the same project. Another reason Masdar City is important is its location. It is very close to Khalifa City and a very established residential area with international schools. It is also close to Zayed International Airport and relatively close to Yas Island with its entertainment, hospitality, and leisure destination. The area also connects to Abu Dhabi's wider road network including E10. So the location should not be viewed only through Masdar City's internal development. You also need to consider the surrounding ecosystem. The schools nearby, the airport, the Yas Island, employment centers, and the wider road network. And these are already operating today. That is different from an infrastructure that exists only on a future master plan. So after looking at the history, the original vision, and what is being developed today, how should we describe Masdar City? I would not describe it as the zero carbon city that was promised in 2007. That is no longer accurate. But I also would not simply describe it as a failed city. That is too simplistic. The more accurate description for me is this. Masdar City started with an extremely ambitious environmental vision. And that vision changed. But the development continued and evolved into a broader business, research, technology, education, sustainability, and residential district. Today, there are more than 1,000 companies and organizations. There are universities and research institutions. There are offices and commercial assets. There is a free zone. There is an established residential community. And there is a significant new residential pipelines. Five Hills is planned with more than 1,000 villas and townhouses. Birdville is developing multiple residential projects. And Aldar and Mubadala are investing in income-producing assets such as The Link. So the story today is very different from the original 2007 concept. And that is exactly why I think Masdar City deserves to be studied carefully from a real estate perspective. If you were considering buying a property in Masdar City, I would focus on 5 things. First, understand that Masdar City is not purely residential. It is a business, technology, research, education, and residential ecosystem. Second, understand the history. The original zero carbon objective was not fully achieved. That should be acknowledged rather than ignored. Third, understand that the residential market is changing. The older market was heavily focused on apartments and corporate accommodation. The newer pipeline is much more diverse, including larger apartments, branded residences, villas, and townhouses. Fourth, understand the location. The airport, Khalifa City, Yas Island, schools, road networks all contribute to the area's accessibility. And fifth, separate what exists today from what is officially developed and what is still planned. The last point is extremely important because an announced project is not the same as a completed project. Master plan is not the same operating infrastructure, and the future transportation connection is not the same as the confirmed station. When evaluating Masdar City, I will therefore divide everything into three categories: what exists today, what is under construction and officially announced, and what remains part of the longer plan. That gives you a much objective picture of the area. If there is one thing I want you to take away from today's video, it is this. Masdar City is not the same project that was presented 2007. The regional zero carbon objective was not fully achieved, but the development did not stop. It just evolved. Today, Masdar City combines business, research, technology, education, sustainability, and residential development. And that is what matters when we look at the real estate market. The question is not simply, did Masdar City achieve its original vision? The better question is, what has actually built, what is being developed now, and what is still only planned? Because those are very different things. Don't judge Masdar City only by the old renderings. Don't judge it only by the headlines saying it failed. And don't judge it only by today's marketing. Look at the companies. Look at the employments. Look at the residential supply. Look at the developers. Look at the actual construction. And look at the infrastructure that is confirmed. And then separate that from what is still a future plan. Because that is how you properly understand Masdar City. And that is how you make more informed decision about any property within. I'm Realtor Duke, real numbers, real homes, real Abu Dhabi.